Welcome back to my channel. My name is Eva Monroe, and this is my scent story. So the number one question I always get asked, how many different fragrances do I own? I never like to answer this question. I never like to count, but recently I counted and the magic number is a little over 600 different fragrances. Now, that's including bottles, decants, and fragrance oils. I never count samples. You can't count samples. There are just too many of them, right? How do I store all of my fragrances, my decants, and my samples? Whew, that's a rough one, but I'm going to show you. So I have actually come up with this handy dandy way of storing my decants. And this is actually a hanging, I believe it's an earring holder, but I have actually stored my decants in there. I'm the type of person that if I can see what I have, I will use it. But if I had them all like in a box or in a drawer or something, I wouldn't know what was in there and I would never get around to using them. So do I use them? I absolutely do. Sometimes I will have an entire week where I do nothing but wear decants and I just come over here and select one. So this is actually my lovely collection. And I have, as you will see, I have the infamous IKEA glass cases on each side and just a white shelf in the middle. So it started out that I tried to keep things organized by houses, but when you only have a limited amount of space, that kind of falls by the wayside eventually. And over here in this cabinet, I actually keep my lovely philosophy collection. I love all things philosophy. Amazing Grace is my favorite philosophy fragrance of all time, but I have just about every one that they have ever came out with, and the lotions, and of course the shower gels to match. Now on one side I have designer, and on the other side you will see contains my niche fragrances. This is my Mugler collection, and again these are all designers, more designers, and more designers. Now, over on the other side, I keep my niche fragrances. So all niche on the white shelf as well, and then niche here. Mostly niche fragrances. You will see a few designers sprinkled throughout because space is my issue. So I keep my eggs there, which I told you I absolutely adore. Now, you see I have a white shelf. So if you have a white shelf, you got to have a black shelf, right? These are all my black bottles. I actually posted something on Facebook one day saying that all of my black bottles are straight heat. I believe that in my mind. I don't know what it is about black bottles, but everything I own in a black bottle, I love and adore. And more niche here. And on the bottom, I keep my, there are some clones, some Jo Malones, and more niche. So, oh, this is not as organized as I would like for it to be, but I do the best I can. These are fragrance oils. I keep them here in the top. I call this my tackle box. It's actually for crafts. So I keep my oils. There are some samples and things in here as well. A few solids, but these are mostly fragrance oils which I'm still very fond of. And then down here in the first compartment, I keep samples here and more samples here. And down here, there are, I believe, roller balls, mostly roller balls, and some samples in there as well. So that's how I store things. Very first fragrance I ever walked into a major department store and purchased a real bottle of was Liz Taylor's Black Pearls. 1996, I walked into Dillard's. I was going out for New Year's Eve with Michael Dennis, and I wanted to smell divine. Back in that day, this sold for about $60, and I was broke and struggling, so I felt almost as good as like purchasing my first home. I loved this. I wore this that night. I smelled so divine. He probably couldn't keep his hands off me, but I have always kept this. This is the very bottle I purchased. I will never get rid of it. I haven't worn it in about 10 years, but it's a memory for me. The most expensive fragrance I own. What is the most expensive fragrance I own? I would say that would be my Roja Dove Parfum, which I didn't purchase for myself. It was actually gifted to me. And second to that would be all of my private blends. I have a $400 limit that I try to stick to at all times. My favorite bottles based on presentation alone. Oh, my favorite bottles would definitely be my House of Ouds. My eggs. I live for my eggs. I feel like they're so beautiful. I just like to come in here and stare at them sometimes. I just love how they look. I feel like if I didn't have them, my collection would actually be kind of humdrum. If I could meet a perfumer personally, which perfumer would I like to meet? Roja Dove. I would love to meet Roja Dove. I feel like he just exudes elegance and class. Like, I would love to spend an entire day with Roja Dove. So if anyone knows him, have him holla at me. Second to Roja Dove would be Hani Hafez from Alexandria Fragrances. I actually really adore Hani's work, and it doesn't hurt that Hani's kind of hot, right? I'd love to meet Hani. What's my fragrance type? I am an Oriental gourmand girl. Y'all know I like a heavy fragrance. I love good fragrances. I love a unique fragrance. I love fragrances that offer a richness. Oriental gourmands. How many sprays? Ooh, I've told you guys this time and time again. I'm disrespectful as hell. So always a minimum of 7. But in the summertime, it could be 12. Here, 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 and here. And then my ankles, the backs of my knees in the summertime. So, I'm disrespectful. I'm honest about that. My biggest piece of advice for someone if they were going to start collecting fragrances. My biggest piece of advice would be to buy only the things that you love. Love the things you buy because you're stuck with them. You can always resell your fragrances, but I feel like you never are going to get exactly what you paid for a fragrance because, once you bring it home, it's actually used. So buy only what you love. Sample fragrances. Sample, decant, and then purchase full bottles. I live by that. Why did I start collecting fragrances? I have been into fragrances for many, many years. Since I was a small girl, like I would get my allowance and go to Walgreens and purchase body sprays and impressions of like Giorgio Armani and impressions of red and things like that. And I would also steal perfume from my mom's and my aunt's. So I have always loved perfume. So it's been over the past 2 years or so that I have really started collecting and keeping my fragrances, because prior to that, I would wear them, get tired of them, get rid of them. Wear them, get tired, get rid. And then I found that I was repurchasing fragrances that I had previously owned, but I had given them away or thrown them away. So now I keep all of my fragrances. I don't get rid of anything. I will be purchasing. What's on my to buy list? On my to buy list is a House of Sillage. And I would like to have a House of Sillage cupcake in my collection. And if you know what that is, it's a very expensive bottle that's in the shape of a cupcake, and it has Swarovski crystals adorned on the top of the cupcake. I feel like I need one of those. Will I ever stop purchasing fragrances? Probably not. I do take a break every now and again to kind of get my mind right and get my bag right. But I probably will always purchase fragrances in some form or fashion, because there's always going to be something new and something different. And I would consider myself a novice collector, so I'm always going to be collecting. Do I purchase my fragrances? Ooh, so I actually purchase fragrances from many different places. I enjoy searching the fragrance groups and forums for good deals on partials, because I feel like you save a lot of money there if it's from a trusted source. I purchase retail a lot. I actually will purchase fragrances from Neiman's and Saks and Macy's, Dillard's, things like that. Sometimes I look up on fragrances and find nice fragrances at Marshall's or TJ Maxx. And I'm no stranger to Poshmark. I have actually found some very nice fragrances for sale on Poshmark. How do I purchase fragrances? What do I do when I'm choosing a fragrance? Before I purchase a fragrance, when I've smelled it, I ask myself three things if it's not a blind buy. Do I have anything that smells like it? Do I have anything that smells better than it? And how often will I wear it? I ask myself those three questions. I do not like to make redundant purchases, so I make sure that typically I don't have anything that smells like a fragrance. I have enough fragrances that smell alike. I've moved past that. What YouTube reviewers do I watch? Ooh, I watch a lot of people. I watch a lot of fragrance reviews, but the people that I really enjoy watching the most, I really have two, and that's Cuba Knows and Roger Real Deep Too Cool. I like Cuba because I feel like he has his own style, his own uniqueness. He doesn't, follow trends and things like that. I really enjoy and respect that part of his channel. And I like Roger Real Deep Too Cool because kind of the same thing. But Roger, I feel, has impeccable taste in fragrances. He has really introduced me to some awesome houses, and he does his own thing. Like, he's not chasing algorithms, and I respect that. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. And if you have any more questions about my scent story, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. Thank you. Until I see you again, be blessed, and bye for now.